you once again for tuning in to KSU Gold. This show is being brought to you by Kentucky State University's College of Agriculture, Food Science, and Sustainable Systems in partnership with the Frankfort Kiwanis Club. My name is Lindsay McGaha. I'm a media manager here at Kentucky State University, and I'm your host. And on this show, we give our viewers a peek of our faculty, our staff, and our students and their efforts to continue our golden legacy of achievement here at Kentucky State University. On today's show, we're going to be talking all about bugs, and we'll head out to the Harold R. Benson Research and Demonstration Farm, where we'll learn all about their research on entomology. But first, we'll introduce the bug guy, better known as Dr. John Sedlacek, who's the chair of Agriculture, Food, and Environment here at Kentucky State. Welcome to the show.
Hi, Lindsay. How are you?
I'm doing great.
Good. Thanks for inviting me today.
Well, you're an entomologist. What is the study of entomology?
Entomology is the science of the study of insects. It has many different aspects to it: anatomy, physiology, pest management, ecology. Forensic science, for example, uses insects in the solving of crimes. The Department of Defense, studies robotics based upon insect crawling and movement and flight. Of course, if you pay any attention to some of our jet fighters, they're shaped like many insects aerodynamically.
Wow. So what are some insect-related research that we're doing here at Kentucky State?
At Kentucky State, I'm involved in conservation biological control. That term just means that I try to provide habitat for beneficial insects to come in and colonize those plants that I'm using to attract them, and then they move into crop situations. For example, sweet corn and blackberries are two crops that I've been involved with.
Now you say beneficial, and that's hard for me because for me, a dead bug is better than no bug at all, right? And so I'm wondering, when you say beneficial, what do you mean? Most people are afraid of bugs, or they bite, or they sting, or they carry diseases or sickness. So tell us what you mean when you say beneficial.
That's true. From a very young age, we're taught to be afraid of them. But there are many beneficial insect species. For example, lady beetles, they're predators. That means they feed on pest insects. There are other small carnivorous insects like big-eyed bugs, minute pirate bugs, and soldier beetles, for example, that feed on pest insects. So they're very beneficial to us. And bees, of course, provide pollination, flies, some types of flies, butterflies, pollination for our crops.
Now you're using certain types of plants to draw these type of beneficial insects. What types of plants are you using?
We're using native perennial plants, 11 species of flowering plants and 5 species of grasses. The flowering plants, like a couple different species of cone flowers and asters, rattlesnake master, and some of the hairy beard tongue, for example. Those are plants, flowers that have been shown to attract these types of insects.
What do you hope that they'll do?
We want them to come in and move from the perennial borders that we've established and that you'll see later on in the show at the farm, move from those border rows into sweet corn. For example, we did a 2-year study involving sweet corn where we bordered the sweet corn plots, with those plants. And they attracted beneficial insects which moved into the sweet corn and reduced the damage by 50%. And so that means that we can use fewer insecticides. And so the total insecticide load in the environment would be reduced.
So are you hoping that these bugs pollinate the plants as well as kill off other types of insects?
Well, yes. In the home environment, for example, bees are very important. Butterflies are very important. And so if these plants are planted in the home environment, and you don't need 16 different species of them, 2 or 3 species, for example, the coneflowers, and they're beautiful to have there as well. And the rattlesnake master is a wonderful plant, okay? And it's very showy. If they attract some little wasp species, for example, tiny little wasps, and they are very beneficial as well.
Okay. Now, I've heard of a term, and you used it. It's an everyday type of insect. It's a special name for a fruit fly. A Drosophila? Is that what it
yes,
is?
Drosophila.
Tell us about you all's research that you're doing with the Drosophila.
Well, we are not really doing research with the Drosophila. Spotted-winged Drosophila is a very serious pest that was introduced into this country from the Far East about 10 years ago. And so it infests blackberries, raspberries, blueberries, strawberries, causing millions and millions of dollars worth of damage each year. And so we wanted to try some of our conservation biological control tactics in addition to using some biological type insecticides to manage it in blackberries.
What type of insects do people want to have inside of their home gardens? You know, it's that time of year where most people are planting gardens, and so a lot of insects are beneficial to the garden and many of them are bad for it. What types of insects would you say would you like to draw to your garden and those that you want to kind of keep away?
Well, lady beetles, of course, I think are very important in feeding on small, soft-bodied insects and the eggs of pest insects. I think that bees, of course, are very important to have there to pollinate the crops. We would not have pumpkins and gourds and squashes and fruit or anything like that if it were not for these types of insects.
What are the best ways for gardeners to attract these types of insects?
Well, I think that rather than buy lady beetles, which you can do that commercially, I would rather attract them, give them a reason to come to your garden. So plant some of these species. For example, common boneset. It's a wonderful plant to attract a variety of different types of beneficial insects. And you have the added benefit of attracting butterflies, which are quite beautiful, and there are lessons in life for children and adults as well when they observe these things.
Now, you teach classes as well as do research. Tell us a little bit about the classes that you teach here at Kentucky State University.
I teach 2 undergraduate classes and 2 graduate classes. One of the classes is an introduction to agriculture, food, and environment. And so, of course, we invite different people to come in, different faculty members to come in and talk about their research. And so, of course, I talk about the conservation biological control. I also teach environmental entomology, and in it, we study insect anatomy so that students can learn how to identify insects. We study pest management techniques, insect ecology, and environmental influence that create changes for insects so that they can become pests, and also how to manage them in those situations.
Well, let's look at what you have here today.
While we were talking about the classes, I brought a collection of one of my former students to show, and it is a very good collection. Actually, it has a variety of different types of species that this student has caught. And so, I'm going to point this insect out in particular. It's one of the largest beetles found in North America. It is a male, and you can tell it is a male because it has horns on the front of its head.
That's a pretty big beetle.
It is indeed one of the heaviest and longest beetles found in the United States. And of course, there are some pest species here. For example, these grasshoppers. Those are dragonflies. Those are beneficial. They eat mosquitoes, for example. Okay, and so that's a green stink bug. It is a pest.
Let's see. Those are pretty awesome. Are there any good bugs to have inside of your home?
Well,
or maybe surrounding your home. I should say that.
Yeah, we talked about that a minute ago, and I'd just like to show. I don't know if we can pick these up on the camera, but these are lady beetles, 2 species of lady beetles that were found near my plots.
They look like ladybugs.
Yes, well, ladybugs, lady beetles, the same thing. Okay, if you were in Great Britain, they would be ladybird beetles. Okay, so that's one of the reasons why there's scientific names, so that we know exactly all across the world what a particular species is, because there's so many different common names for some of these. Multicolored Asian lady beetle in my left hand, and those are pink lady beetles in my right hand.
May I see?
Sure.
Awesome. And what do you have in your box here?
Well, I'm glad you asked that question.
I like that these are in cases and they can't get out.
Well, we're going to try to keep from any escapes. You may have noticed a plume of fruit flies as I open that up, and that's because we feed these insects bananas, okay? And of course, you leave a banana out on the corner counter, what are you going to find? Fruit flies within a couple of days. But I'm going to disturb her. This is a female Hercules beetle. And again, she is one of the largest, if not the largest species of beetle in the United States. And so quite harmless, quite harmless. This insect, along with some others, I'm not going to take the time to dig them out, but they're best beetles that have burrowed into this soil-like material. A lot of this material here is ground up wood. These insects help break down wood in the forest ecosystem and recycle nutrients back into the soil.
Wonderful.
So yeah, that is quite an impressive insect if you ask. And kids love seeing these. When we go to, say for example, a county fair, state fair, kids love to see these things.
Yes, well, I wouldn't want to hold one, but they look great in your hand. Listen, thank you, Dr. Sedlacek. How can people learn more about what you do and get in contact with you?
Well, they can contact me through my phone number, or they can email me directly. Call me, email me, and I'll get back to you, I promise.
When we come back, we'll hear from Dr. John Sedlacek's research associate, Karen Friley, as she gives us information on her research out at the KSU farm.
Kentucky State is a great school to attend, especially because of the small class sizes. You get that one-on-one experience with your teachers, your mentors.
I've really enjoyed being here at Kentucky State University, working and studying with the professors and students here who are very knowledgeable, very engaging, and very helpful.
You're able to actually talk to the professors. They're really caring and understanding and want to see you succeed. You also get in the field earlier. As a freshman, you're able to go out to the farms. You're able to do research projects.
After my undergrad degree in agriculture, I was looking forward to continue my studies. I was really interested in Kentucky State University, and I love the research programs here.
Kentucky State has prepared me for a career in agriculture because you get the experience of being able to do different research projects. You get to actually collect and analyze your data.
So it was a perfect fit, and really, really excited to be working in this field.
We're going to head out to the Harold R. Benson Research and Demonstration Farm, where we'll hear from research associate Karen Friley as she shares all the research they're doing on KSU's farm.
This is one of our native perennial border rows. There's a border row on this side and then on the other side. We have 4 of these plots that are bordered by native perennial plants and 4 plots that are just bordered by pasture. These plants are native to Kentucky. This is a rattlesnake master, and this is the actual flower. And right here is a wasp. These tiny grasses are little blue stem. This is slender mountain mint. And here's bee balm. This had a light purple flower on it earlier. We chose plants that would flower. Something would be flowering throughout the growing season. So that's why these plants were chosen. Here is a thimbleweed, and it just shoots up one flower, but it's got an interesting leaf. What we're trying to do with these flowering plants is attract beneficial insects. Beneficial insects will eat pollen and nectar when prey is not available, so we're trying to bring in the beneficial insects And then when prey shows up in the blackberries, these insects will hopefully move in. We have a new pest insect of blackberries called the spotted winged Drosophila. It's a tiny, tiny fruit fly. And the female oviposits her egg inside a ripening or ripe blackberry. That egg hatches, and then the larvae proceed to eat the berry from the inside out. Growers will come to harvest the blackberries, and the berry looks completely healthy. And so they pick all these, but there can be larvae inside the blackberries. So this is common bone set. I've seen a lot of soldier beetles on this, but not today. And we've got more rattlesnake master. This actually is a New England aster with one little tiny flower here. This, we are collecting data using sticky traps and pan traps. Sticky traps will catch any flying insect, and the pan trap is specifically to collect parasitic wasps. Those wasps are very, very tiny. When they get stuck on the sticky traps, they're really hard to identify because a lot of the identification involves wing venation. So we have started using pan traps that is a 20% mixture of low-tox antifreeze and water. So we're trying to see what beneficial insects are here. As you see, we've got quite a big group of grass. This is mainly big blue stem and switchgrass. Grasses don't flower, but we chose to put them in here because grasses create microclimates for the insects, so they're protected from rain, they can get shade, and they're protected from prey. This is called a gray-headed coneflower. As time goes on, the centers of the flowers will turn gray, even though what you usually focus in on is the pretty yellow petals. Now here is a nice New England aster where you see the pretty purple flowers. And then right here is foxglove beard tongue, and it's really associated with this plant here, but here's the flower of it. And these are the seeds. These were the first to bloom this season. These aren't blooming yet. They are beautiful. It's called blue lobelia, and it shoots up a nice purple flower, kind of a cone shape. Here's another. I'm going to have to crawl through. But here's another foxglove beard tongue that's still blooming, and these were the first to flower, I think in May. And then we've got prairie dropseed. It's another grass. These are our blackberries. They're prime art traveler. This is a second year growth. We planted them last year. You will see that there's some damage here, and that's from Japanese beetle. Japanese beetle are very heavy this year. The sticky trap and pan trap, this is the data we collect. We're looking at beneficial insects. On the sticky traps, we're looking at all lady beetles. We're looking at big-eyed bug and minute pirate bug that is very, very tiny. Those are the main insects that we find on these traps. The pan traps are collecting parasitic wasps that are very tiny. These wasps will insert an egg inside a pest or on top, and that egg hatches and ends up eating the pest. So these are collected weekly. The pan traps are set out for 4 days, and the sticky traps are set out for 7 days. We take them back to the lab, and we look at them under the microscope. And we have to sort out the parasitic wasps from any other insect that has fallen into the pan trap. And then Kyle identifies each wasp and puts them in vials. These blackberries, there are 2 rows per plot. They're about 80 feet long, and they were planted every 2 feet. We came back and marked 12-feet sections with these T-posts for treatments. We've got 4 treatments and 1 control. Then what we did to separate the treatments, we actually cut out the blackberries that were here. That separates the treatments, and it allows us to walk back and forth without having to walk the entire length of the blackberries. I was going to show you the spotted wing Drosophila trap. These are handmade, and all that is in there is apple cider vinegar. Spotted wing Drosophila are attracted to it, and we put 1 trap out per plot and change it every week, and we're monitoring to see if the spotted wing Drosophila is here and if it's increasing. They are in these plots, but the numbers have not gone up tremendously yet, but they will.
Kentucky State is a great school to attend, especially because of the small class sizes. You get that one-on-one experience with your teachers. They're really caring and understanding and want to see you succeed. You also get in the field earlier. As a freshman, you're able to go out to the farms, you're able to do research projects. Kentucky State prepares you for a field in agriculture by the multiple resources that are available to you, the people that you get to meet, and all the cool things you get to do.
We're here with the Green Society, a student organization here at Kentucky State University. Well, a few members of the Green Society. You all are a pretty big organization. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having us.
So I understand that you all are all grad students here at Kentucky State. Tell us a little bit about yourself and your experience since you've been here.
I'm Brandon Priest. I'm in the MES program here. I've been here for about 4.5 years now. Went to the AFE program as an undergrad, and had a really good time here at K-State and with the Green Society.
Now, AFE, what does that stand for?
Agriculture, Food, and Environment. It's the College of Ag's primary undergraduate degree.
Well, I'm Ellen Anthony. I'm pretty new to Kentucky State University and Kentucky in general. I'm from Texas, been here about 1.5 years and at K-State in the MES program, looking in the organic agriculture department at some pretty cool water quality stuff. And so I'm happy to be here. I've enjoyed being a member of Green Society.
Wonderful.
Yeah, my story is pretty similar to Brandon's. I went through the undergrad AFE program here, and I'm in the MES program, enjoying life at KSU.
Wonderful. Now, you all tell me a little bit about this Green Society. What is it? What is you all's mission, and what do you all stand for?
Green Society, it's a student-led organization, like you said, where we promote environmental awareness and sustainability, not only on campus, but also in the surrounding communities.
And is this a national organization?
No, we're specifically this campus's organization, but there are a lot of campuses that have similar environmental type groups. This is just something that the KSU students started in around '07.
Okay, so it's been founded a while ago. It's been going on for quite some time. Wonderful. Who is the Green Society open to? Is it just those that are in the College of Agriculture?
We want everyone to come out and enjoy environmental science and environmental education and outreach. So it's open, it's welcome to all.
Tell us a little bit about what you all do in the Green Society, some of the activities that you all participate in each year.
Well, we did do the Monarch Way Station, which I think we'll get into in a little bit, and then as a part of the Green Society, Ian and I have been involved with the Woods and Waters Land Trust, and so more environmental education and outreach with people who truly are like changing the world, you know, straight from Kentucky. So
we've also pushed a comprehensive recycling program here on campus and a few other community type projects, and we kind of stay open and try to keep our mind in different areas of the environment.
So tell us a little bit about the recycling program that you all have here.
Ian, you want to talk about that? You were head at that
Sure. So the recycling effort started roughly 2 years ago. We just noticed lack of proper recycling on campus, and so we wanted to push that as an organization, and we made it happen. So we got a pretty good, decent functioning recycling program going on now at KSU. We're pretty proud to have been involved in that.
What was your all's role with Reforest Frankfurt? That's a pretty big event that we have here in Franklin County.
Yeah, we have, at least for the last 2 years, been involved in one way or another. We had a couple of members who were involved with the planning, and then both of those years we've been really involved in either working tables or helping organize and different parts of it.
Now, we spoke with Dr. Sedlacek earlier, and I know you all worked hand in hand with him to create the Monarch Way Station. What is a Monarch Way Station?
So Monarch Way Station is basically a plot of land specifically designed to attract monarch butterflies and other pollinators to the area.
Now, why is it important?
So if you don't know, in recent years there's been a decline in the monarch butterfly populations, mostly due to human activity and habitat loss. Their migratory grounds in Mexico have been affected by illegal logging, and also general habitat loss and herbicide use along their migratory routes have damaged their habitat. And so they're suffering from lower numbers now, and one way to help bring them back up is to plant way stations like we did at the KSU farm.
Now, you all planted different types of flowers. Tell us about some of the flowers that you all planted and why those types of flowers draw butterflies.
Yeah, so we got a lot of our information from monarchwatch.org, which is just an organization that promotes monarch way stations, and they provide a general list of plants that you can plant at a station that you want, and we kind of updated it to make sure that every plant that we planted was native to Kentucky, so it would be as beneficial as possible. And so we've got plants like Joe Pye weed and coneflowers, and I think most importantly is the milkweed, which is a favorite for monarch butterflies. That's where they get their food from.
When did you all start this project?
Spring of this year, around April, Dr. Sedlacek kind of had proposed the idea to us, and we really ran with it.
A lot of those flowers have bloomed already, and it's beautiful. It's a beautiful plot that you all have. How does it feel to see you all's work come into fruition?
I can only speak for myself, but I feel fantastic about it, getting out there and working on it and weeding it, and all the effort we put into it, from planning and to getting people to actually put it together. It feels really good to see those fruits come to fruition.
That's awesome. Well, I want to take the time to shout out Ellen Anthony here, who is a student board member of the Woods and Waters Land Trust. Congratulations to you.
Thank you.
Tell us a little bit about what that is.
The Woods and Waters Land Trust essentially works to protect land here in Kentucky so that, long-term, big picture environmentally, we have land that is, kind of biodiverse, kind of hot spots and safe and protected and not going to be developed. And so I've done a lot of learning as far as Kentucky, because again, I'm kind of new here, learning about counties, the pride that everyone takes within their counties, and just, again, seeing and learning what environmental education and outreach looks like here. And so I've learned a lot, especially from like a board member perspective, that there is so much effort that goes into these organizations. And so I'm very fortunate to have had this educational opportunity.
Cool. And Ian, I heard you were a past board member before.
Yeah. So I served the term before Ellen, and it was a really good experience. I learned a lot about nonprofit administration and what it takes to run an effective organization like that, and it was a really rewarding opportunity. And I'm glad that we could keep more Green Society members in it.
Well, just in honor of the show, and we're talking a little bit about bugs, I'm going to tell a little joke. How about that? Right? So what did one girl firefly say to the other girl firefly?
I don't know, but I want to know the answer.
Ha, you glow, girl. Anywho, thank you all so much for being on the show. We really appreciate it. If you all are interested in more information on how you can contact the Green Society, please email them. The information is on the screen. Thank you all once again for tuning into KSU Gold. We hope you all have enjoyed the show. Please be sure to tune in every Monday at 8 o'clock p.m. Until next time.